The mountain road was empty, the kind of silence that presses against the eardrums. A silver pickup crept along the gravel, its tires crunching on loose stone. Behind the wheel sat Emily, a wildlife photographer chasing the last light of the day. The sun was dipping low, spilling amber across the jagged ridges, when she noticed movement on the road ahead. At first, she thought it was just shadows, but shadows don't stare back. Two wolves stood in the middle of the path, not trotting, not running away. They were waiting. Their bodies were lean, fur bristling in the mountain wind, eyes fixed on her headlights. One stepped forward, its ears twitching, its paws planted firmly in the dust. The other tilted his head and gave a sharp, quick bark, not a snarl, not a growl. Almost a signal. Emily's instincts screamed to stay inside, to lock the doors and back away. Wolves weren't supposed to behave like this. She reached for her camera but froze halfway. The look in their eyes wasn't wild hunger. It was something stranger, urgent. For a full minute, no one moved. Then, as if on cue, both wolves turned sharply and dashed into the tree line. But only a few paces in, they stopped, looking back, waiting. Emily's hands tightened on the steering wheel. Every rule of safety told her to stay, but every fiber of her gut told her otherwise. Slowly, she opened the door, slung her camera around her neck, and stepped into the cool mountain air. The wolves didn't flee. They darted deeper into the forest, then paused again, staring at her. Her pulse quickened. She followed. The forest swallowed her quickly. The sound of her boots crunching on pine needles was loud compared to the quiet padding of the wolves ahead. They moved quickly but always within sight, stopping every few yards to make sure she was behind them. The deeper they went, the stranger it became. Emily noticed claw marks on trees, fresh ones. A trail of disturbed earth. The sharp scent of blood in the air. She swallowed hard. "What are you showing me?" she whispered, not sure if her voice was meant for the wolves or herself. Finally, the path opened into a small clearing. And there she saw it. At the base of a tree lay a man, his hiking gear scattered. One leg twisted unnaturally beneath him. A heavy branch had fallen, pinning him to the ground. His face was pale, lips cracked, and his breath shallow. Emily's heart lurched. She rushed forward, dropping to her knees beside him. "Sir, can you hear me?" The man's eyelids fluttered. His voice was barely a rasp. Help couldn't move. The wolves circled just beyond her reach, pacing, watching, their eyes locked not on her but on him, not threatening, guarding. Emily fumbled for her phone, no signal. Her mind raced. The nearest ranger station was miles back. She pressed her hands against the man's wrist, a pulse faint, but there. "You're going to be okay," she whispered. "I'll find a way." The branch was too heavy to move alone. Emily tried, bracing her shoulder and pushing, but the wood barely shifted. Sweat trickled down her forehead despite the cool air. She bit her lip, looking at the wolves. They had settled, sitting on their haunches like silent sentinels. "Why did you bring me here?" she muttered. "You could have left him." One wolf gave a low whine, ears flicking back. The other paced closer, as if urging her on. Emily stood, scanning the forest. She spotted a long fallen branch and wedged it beneath a heavy log. With every ounce of strength, she levered the weight upward. The wood groaned, shifted, and finally rolled just enough for her to drag the man's leg free. He cried out in pain, but it was the sound of life. His leg was badly broken, but he was conscious now, eyes flickering between Emily and the wolves. They didn't leave me," he whispered. Emily's breath caught. "You knew them?" His lips curved faintly, almost a smile. "Months ago, I pulled them from a trap, snare. They remember." Emily tore strips from her scarf, binding his leg as best she could. She had survival training, but this was different. Time was slipping fast. She rose and looked at the wolves. "I need help. Show me the way out." As if they understood, the larger wolf barked once and dashed toward the trees, pausing at the edge of the clearing. The other stayed close, watching over the injured man. Emily gritted her teeth, slid her arms beneath the man's shoulders, and began dragging him across the ground. Pain shot through her muscles, but adrenaline kept her moving. The wolves guided her one ahead, one behind. Step by step, they led her toward the road. It felt like hours, though it was barely 30 minutes before headlights pierced the trees. A ranger truck screeched to a halt as Emily stumbled into the open road, waving frantically. The man was lifted into the vehicle, rushed toward safety. Emily collapsed on the gravel, chest heaving. When she lifted her head, the wolves were gone. Days later, Emily visited the hospital. The man, his name was Joseph, was recovering, leg bound in a cast, but alive. They waited with me, he told her, voice stronger now. Those wolves. I thought I was dreaming, but then you came. Emily shook her head. They led me straight to you. They wouldn't let me stop. A knock on the door interrupted them. A wildlife officer stepped inside, nodding to Joseph. You will want to see this. He held up a trail camera. The screen flickered with footage, two wolves standing at the edge of the forest road, staring into the camera as if waiting. Seconds later, Emily's truck appeared. They wanted her to follow, the officer said quietly. Joseph's eyes misted. They remembered. I freed them once, and when it was my turn, they brought someone to free me. Months passed. Emily returned to the mountains often, camera in hand, always hoping for another glimpse. One winter morning, as snow dusted the peaks, she finally saw them. The two wolves stood on the ridge above her, silhouettes against the pale sky. For a long moment, none of them moved. Then the larger wolf lifted its muzzle and howled, the sound echoing across the valley. The smaller one joined in, a haunting harmony that sent shivers down Emily's spine. When the echoes faded, they turned and vanished into the wild. She lowered her camera, tears stinging her eyes. Some moments, she realized, aren't meant to be captured, only remembered. Sometimes the bonds we create ripple back to us in ways we can't explain. Joseph's act of kindness months earlier, cutting two frightened wolves free from a cruel trap, had saved his life when fate turned against him. And Emily, who followed a gut feeling instead of fear, carried a story the world would hardly believe. Wolves who chose to wait, who chose to remember, and who chose to lead. In the shadow of the mountain, where wild and human lives touched, trust had replaced fear, and the wilderness had whispered its quiet truth. Every act of compassion matters, and sometimes the wild remembers more than we do. If you found this story moving, let us know in the comments. Have you ever experienced an unexpected moment of connection with an animal? We love to hear your story. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more incredible true life encounters between humans and the wild.